Deep within the quiet, chilling corridors of Clarence House stands a door that has not been opened for over 20 years. Behind it lies Camilla's private chamber, sealed away, concealed from all prying eyes, even from the man who sleeps beside her. Then, by an unexpected twist of destiny, that very key found its way into the hands of Prince William. What he uncovered was far more than a simple room. It was an entire hidden chapter of dark and painful history. A past intertwined with the memory of his mother, Princess Diana, filled with secrets that had never been revealed, never published, never spoken aloud, yet powerful enough to rattle the foundations of the monarchy and alter the course of royal legacy. Within those walls were not dresses nor royal treasures, but pieces of evidence so incriminating that they forced William to confront an unimaginable decision. Whether to bring the truth into the light and face, head-on, the woman he believed had shattered his mother's life, Camilla. Camilla, once the outsider who fought her way from obscurity to the throne, now stands on the brink of disaster. She understands that William possesses something capable of destroying everything she has built. And so she begins to plot in the shadows, crafting cold, calculated strategies to defend her crown at all costs. But William refuses to retreat. In that pivotal instant, he set in motion a conflict no member of the royal family had ever dared to launch. A legal battle against the institution itself. A confrontation that threatens to tear away the curtain of secrecy Camilla has protected for decades. What truly remains hidden inside Camilla's forbidden room? And could it be the ultimate judgment, strong enough to erase forever the royal title she devoted her entire life to securing? Toward the end of August 2025, Clarence House, the historic royal residence that once belonged to Queen Mother Elizabeth and now serves as the home of King Charles III and Queen Camilla, was filled with the echo of tools and construction as a major renovation began on the building's eastern wing. Workers were busy repairing a long-neglected corridor where floorboards had weakened with age, walls showed signs of wear, and ornamental features had faded over the years. Dust hung in the air, yet there was a shared determination to restore the dignity and beauty of this part of the royal residence. Still, in the middle of all the activity, one particular place remained untouched and surrounded by mystery. Camilla's private dressing room, a chamber that had been sealed and left unopened for more than 2 decades, as though it were protecting something too sensitive to be revealed. The room stood at the far end of the eastern corridor, hidden away behind solid walls and almost completely forgotten. Its large oak door, reinforced with an old-fashioned lock, gave off an air of seriousness and secrecy. Not even King Charles, despite his close and devoted relationship with Camilla, had ever entered it. That room belongs to her alone, he had reportedly told palace staff, speaking with both respect and an uneasy tone that suggested he preferred not to ask further questions. Among members of the royal household, quiet rumors had long circulated. Perhaps the room contained remnants of Camilla's past life, back when she was Charles's mistress and his marriage to Princess Diana was slowly collapsing in heartbreak. Was it truly just a storage space for clothing and jewels, or was it something far more significant? A hidden archive of uncomfortable truths. One particularly hot afternoon, a construction worker named Thomas, who had spent more than 30 years in the building trade, was in the process of removing a heavy decorative mirror from the hallway wall. As he lifted it away, he heard a faint metallic click. Curious, He bent down and noticed a small hollow compartment behind the wooden paneling. Inside lay an old brass key engraved with the letters C.S. Camilla Shand, the Queen's name before marriage. His pulse quickened, not out of fear, but because he sensed he had stumbled upon something important. "This doesn't feel ordinary," Thomas whispered to himself, gripping the key firmly, as though worried it might disappear. Without delay, Thomas informed the project supervisor, Mr. Edward, a composed and careful man known for his silver hair and watchful expression. "I think this might be the key to that sealed room," Thomas said, unable to hide his excitement. Edward immediately realized the delicate nature of the discovery and chose not to make any independent decision. He passed the information up the chain of command, and soon the matter reached Prince William, who had been placed in charge of overseeing the restoration as part of his role in preserving royal heritage. At that moment, William was at Kensington Palace, spending time with his children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, while Kate prepared their evening meal. Edward's phone call came just as the sun was setting. His voice shook slightly as he explained, "Your Royal Highness, we've uncovered a key marked CS. We believe it may unlock Queen Camilla's private dressing room." William paused in silence, tightening his grip on the phone. A rush of memories flooded his mind, visions of his mother, Princess Diana, and the pain she had endured, the stories of betrayal and heartache connected to Camilla. The woman he felt had played such a destructive role in his parents' marriage. "Make sure nothing is touched," William instructed firmly, though his tone remained controlled. "I'll come at once." Rising from his seat, he could not hide the tension on his face. Kate noticed immediately and gently asked, "What happened?" William answered simply, "It has to do with Mom. I need to go." Later that evening, beneath the quiet glow of London's night sky, William drove alone to Clarence House. Camilla was away in Scotland attending a charity event devoted to wildlife conservation, one of the public causes she often used to strengthen her image. King Charles was at Balmoral, enjoying the calm atmosphere of the Scottish countryside. The residence was nearly deserted, guarded only by a few security officers making their rounds. William walked down the corridor toward the mysterious room, the cold brass key resting in his hand. Under the dim lighting, he stopped in front of the heavy oak door, touching the lock as his heart beat faster. A strange sense of apprehension came over him, not fear of physical danger, but of what truths might be waiting on the other side. "If this room holds answers about my mother and what she went through," he thought to himself, "then I must be brave enough to face them." Even so, he did not immediately open the door. Instead, William accepted the key from Edward, placed it carefully into his coat pocket, and stepped away, realizing he needed time to prepare himself emotionally. He understood that this was not just another room inside a royal building. It could be a doorway into long-buried family secrets, memories connected to Diana's tragic life and death. At that moment, a deep determination grew within him, the resolve to defend his mother's legacy and to protect his own wife and children from whatever hidden schemes might still exist within palace walls. Little did William know, what awaited him behind that locked door would soon alter his life forever and send shockwaves through the entire British monarchy, illuminating shadows that had remained concealed for far too long. At the beginning of September 2025, after many restless nights spent thinking about the mysterious key, Prince William finally resolved to return to Clarence House on his own. He kept his plan from Kate, even though she had repeatedly offered to accompany him. "You shouldn't face this alone," she had told him gently, concern clear in her voice. But William refused. "This is something I need to do for Mom," he replied firmly. "I have to handle it myself so I can stay focused." Meanwhile, Camilla remained in Scotland, busy with a long series of charity engagements. That absence was exactly what encouraged William to act. However, Camilla's sharp political instincts made her uneasy. She had been informed by a trusted aide that the renovations at Clarence House were moving ahead quickly, and she feared her sealed dressing room might soon be discovered. "I need to keep my distance from London for now, just in case," she told her personal assistant Marcus during a private, encrypted phone call. To avoid drawing attention, Camilla intentionally extended her stay in Scotland, attending fundraisers, meeting influential supporters, and even appearing on regional television to promote her causes. Everything was carefully planned to ensure she had a convincing excuse to be away if any problem arose. What she did not realize was that the long-lost key had already found its way into William's possession. William chose a night of heavy rain to make his return. The storm provided perfect cover, muffling noise and reducing the chance of interruption. He drove to Clarence House alone, his thoughts filled with memories of Princess Diana and the painful stories she had once confided in him about Camilla's role in destroying her marriage. The residence was almost completely silent, with only a few guards patrolling the grounds. The renovation area in the eastern wing was deserted after dark. When William finally unlocked the dressing room door and stepped inside, he used the light from his phone to see, and was instantly stunned by what lay before him. This was no ordinary private room. Instead, it appeared to be a carefully organized secret archive containing rows of metal filing cabinets, old wooden trunks covered in dust, and a glass display case filled with glittering jewelry. His attention was immediately drawn to one item in particular, Diana's famous pearl necklace, which had vanished mysteriously after her funeral in 1997 and had long been considered one of the royal family's unresolved mysteries. "How can this be?" William whispered in disbelief, his hand shaking as he touched the glass. "She kept it all this time? For what purpose?" A mixture of sorrow and fury filled him, as though Camilla had taken not only his mother's happiness, but even the final pieces of her memory. In the center of the room stood a large chest marked with the initials D.S. Diana Spencer. With a heavy sense of dread, William opened it and discovered a heartbreaking collection of his mother's personal letters. Written in Diana's graceful handwriting, they revealed her deepest emotions. Some letters addressed to Charles spoke openly of her anguish. "You chose her over me, over our family. Every day I feel more broken." Others were written to William and Harry, filled with affection but also worry. "My precious boys, I fear that one day the truth will be buried, and you will be left to face those who caused our suffering." There were even letters addressed directly to Camilla expressing raw anger. "You may believe you have replaced me, but you are nothing more than a shadow in this marriage, and the world will eventually see the truth." Then William found a sealed envelope labeled, "For William, when he is ready." His pulse quickened as he carefully opened it. The letter inside began, "My dear William, if you are reading this, it means everything I feared has come true. Camilla will never stop. She is driven by ambition and will manipulate anyone to secure her place. She forced me into silence by threatening your safety and Harry's. I love you more than anything, and I trust you to be strong." Overcome with emotion, William collapsed onto the floor, tears streaming down his face. The pain of loss, the weight of long-hidden truths, and the regret that he had been unable to protect his mother overwhelmed him all at once. "She knew all along," he murmured through his tears, feeling as though Diana herself were speaking to him from beyond the grave, but the chest contained more than letters. William discovered a legal document, a non-disclosure agreement dated August 15, 1997, signed only 2 weeks before Diana's fatal accident in Paris. The agreement required her to remain silent about Charles and Camilla's relationship in exchange for guarantees regarding the safety and custody of her sons. The terms were harsh. If Diana spoke publicly about Charles's personal affairs, she would risk losing William and Harry and face serious legal consequences. "They used us to silence her," William said quietly, gripping the document in anger as the full cruelty of the situation became clear. Finally, he found a USB drive containing secretly recorded footage of private moments between Charles and Camilla. Evidence Diana had apparently gathered to protect herself, only for it to be confiscated and hidden away. Attached was a note in Diana's handwriting. "This is the truth they refuse to let me tell." William left Clarence House that night carrying the most important documents with him, feeling like a different person than when he had arrived. Back at Kensington Palace, he sat alone in his study, reading his mother's final letter over and over, struggling to contain his emotions. Kate soon entered the room and immediately noticed his red, tear-filled eyes. "What did you discover?" she asked softly, placing her hand on his shoulder. William pulled her close and whispered, "The truth about Mom, about everything Camilla did. And now I have to protect our family from her." Kate held his hand tightly, seeing a new determination in his expression. In that moment, a personal discovery turned into something much larger, a quest for justice in Diana's name. William began quietly reaching out to trusted legal experts to examine the NDA and the recordings, preparing for what would come next. He understood that revealing everything could shake the monarchy to its core, but the wounds of the past left him with no choice. He could not turn back now. Not long after William departed Clarence House carrying the confidential materials, word of his discovery quickly reached Camilla through her well-established circle of trusted aides. She was still in Scotland, attending public events with forced smiles and polite conversation, when a confidential update from Clarence House security arrived through a protected channel. The message sent a surge of alarm through her. "He's uncovered everything," Camilla murmured to Marcus, her most loyal assistant, a man who had stood by her since the days when she lived in secrecy as Charles's mistress. Though she tried to remain composed, her voice shook slightly with anxiety. "If those documents become public, Diana's letters, that agreement, and especially that video, everything I've fought to build will collapse. We cannot allow William to control this story. We must respond immediately." Camilla had never been a woman to wait helplessly. Years of surviving within the ruthless environment of royal politics had sharpened her instincts. Sitting in a lavish Edinburgh hotel suite with a glass of whiskey in hand, she began planning her next move. "We need to get ahead of him," she told Marcus firmly. "Create a distraction before he has the chance to reveal anything. Bring back the old scandal about William and Rose Hanbury, the aristocrat he was rumored to have been involved with years ago." Marcus listened attentively as Camilla laid out the details. "This time we won't rely on vague gossip. I want fabricated hotel booking records, digitally altered photographs that appear authentic, and fake text conversations leaked from anonymous sources describing secret meetings. Hire specialists who can manipulate technology convincingly, but make absolutely certain nothing can be traced back to me. Her ultimate goal, as she explained with chilling precision, was clear. We must focus on Kate. If we can weaken her emotionally, William will be forced to retreat. Put enough pressure on their marriage, and he will protect his family rather than pursue a public battle, just as Diana was pressured into silence years ago. Camilla allowed herself a faint, calculating smile. Kate may appear strong, but no woman can ignore accusations of infidelity, especially when they seem supported by new evidence. The public still remembers the rumors from 2019. If we reignite them convincingly, the damage will be done. She was certain that once William was consumed with defending his personal life, he would abandon any plan to expose the truth. At the same time, Camilla did not intend to rely solely on media manipulation. She reached out to another trusted figure, Victor, a former member of royal security with a reputation for discreet and questionable operations. Using an encrypted phone line, she gave him explicit instructions. Victor, you must retrieve the materials William removed from Clarence House, the NDA, Diana's letters, and that USB drive. Break into Kensington Palace if necessary, and take them before he has time to act. Victor responded calmly and professionally, outlining his approach. I can track the location of the documents, bypass internal cameras, and, if required, create a temporary power failure to cover my movements. Late at night will be the safest window. Camilla replied without hesitation, her tone cold and unwavering. This is our final opportunity. Failure is not an option. While waiting for these plans to be set in motion, Camilla also contacted several journalists she trusted, subtly encouraging them to revisit the old rumors surrounding William and Rose. Start with anonymous online whispers, she advised one editor. Then allow the tabloids to pick it up and build momentum. After ending the call, she sat alone, reflecting on the long and difficult journey that had brought her to the throne, from being despised by the public after Diana's death to finally securing her position as queen. I have sacrificed too much to lose everything now, she told herself, tightening her grip on her glass. Yet beneath her confidence lurked a growing fear. If William revealed the contents of that room, not only would her own reputation be destroyed, but Charles would be dragged into the scandal as well, creating the most devastating royal crisis in decades. She even considered a last resort, persuading Charles to intervene personally, using his fragile health as an emotional argument to convince William to stay silent for the sake of the monarchy. Camilla instructed Marcus to keep William under constant observation, demanding updates on his movements every hour through secure communication. As the first hints of the revived scandal began appearing online and in the press, she felt a renewed sense of control. The plan seemed to be working, forcing William onto the defensive, yet she knew the true battle was only beginning. A brutal confrontation between past and present, secrecy and truth. If her strategy succeeded, she would protect her crown. If it failed, everything she had built would fall apart. And Diana, long gone but never forgotten, would finally triumph in the end. The controversy erupted gradually at first, like a fuse burning quietly, but once it ignited, the impact spread with shocking speed and intensity. Only one day after Camilla's strategy was put into motion, British newspapers exploded with dramatic front-page headlines. Prince William and Rose Hanbury Fresh proof of a secret relationship. Private messages and hidden photos revealed. Carefully manipulated images, designed to appear authentic using advanced digital techniques, began circulating online from anonymous social media profiles. Fabricated text conversations, filled with intimate phrases such as, "I missed you last night," supposedly sent from untraceable numbers, spread across Twitter and Instagram within hours. The public reacted immediately, dividing into opposing camps. Some dismissed the story as another royal smear campaign, while others, hungry for scandal, accepted it without question. "So this is the real William," one viral post declared, attracting thousands of approving responses. The story quickly became a global trending topic, capturing attention from Europe to America and beyond. At Kensington Palace, Kate was preparing breakfast for the children when she casually glanced at her phone and saw the first headline. The shock hit her instantly. "Not this again. Why are they dragging it up now?" she whispered, tears welling in her eyes as her hands began to tremble. Memories of the 2019 rumors flooded back. Weeks of sleepless nights and painful uncertainty about her marriage. This time felt even worse, with what appeared to be convincing new evidence. She sank onto the couch, overwhelmed, covering her face as sobs escaped her. A storm of emotions swept through her: humiliation, anger, fear for her children, and the unbearable weight of public scrutiny. "I have to stay strong for George, Charlotte, and Louis," she told herself. Yet the pain made it difficult to stand and face the day. William received Kate's call while working at his desk. Her voice shook as she spoke. "I don't know how much more of this I can handle. How can they lie like this? Everything feels like it's falling apart." Hearing her distress, William immediately abandoned his duties and rushed home. The moment he arrived, he embraced her tightly. "None of it is true," he said urgently. "I swear to you I have never betrayed you. This is a deliberate attack." Kate clung to him, crying, but the emotional damage had already taken hold, leaving a temporary distance between them. Beyond the personal pain, the scandal also began to affect William publicly. Opinion polls showed declining confidence in him, and political commentators started questioning his suitability as future king. "If he cannot manage his own image, how can he lead the nation?" one columnist wrote. Refusing to be passive, William immediately called together a crisis team. Leading attorneys, cybersecurity specialists with intelligence backgrounds, and a small circle of trusted advisors. In an urgent meeting at Kensington Palace, he gave clear instructions. "Find out exactly who is behind this," he demanded, anger burning in his voice. His team quickly began investigating, tracing online activity, analyzing metadata from leaked posts, and uncovering digital connections that eventually pointed towards servers linked to Marcus, Camilla's personal aide. At the same time, William started preparing his own response. He made copies of Diana's letters, asked legal experts to review the validity of the 1997 NDA, and arranged for technical analysis of the video evidence he had discovered. "This isn't only about defending our marriage," he told Kate as she slowly regained composure. "It's about standing up for Mom. Camilla has crossed too many lines, and I won't let her get away with it." Determined to confront the accusations head-on, William agreed to give a live televised interview with the BBC. Appearing calm but visibly resolute, he addressed the nation directly. "What you are seeing is a calculated smear campaign by people who fear their own past. I will not be intimidated, and the truth will soon be revealed." His firm response began to shift the public mood. Many rallied behind him, praising his courage and loyalty to his family, while others started revisiting Camilla's controversial history with renewed suspicion. Yet beneath the surface, the conflict was far from over. Camilla continued to observe from the shadows, and Victor prepared to carry out the next, more dangerous stage of her plan. Several nights after the fabricated scandal about William and Rose Hanbury had begun dominating newspapers and social media, Victor, the man secretly recruited by Camilla, prepared for what would become the riskiest operation of his life. Victor, in his early 50s, with a strong, athletic frame, had spent years working in covert roles connected to British intelligence. He was skilled, disciplined, and intimately familiar with high-level security systems. During his career, he had carried out delicate missions where silence and precision were essential. Camilla's instructions, delivered through a tense phone conversation days earlier, had been blunt. Enter Kensington Palace, break into William's private study, and recover the 1997 NDA, Diana's personal letters, and the USB drive containing the compromising video. No mistakes, no fingerprints, no evidence, Camilla had insisted, her tone anxious yet determined. Victor prepared carefully, dressed entirely in black, equipped with specialized tools, signal jammers, and devices designed to bypass cameras and alarms. On a cold, moonlit London night, Victor approached Kensington Palace from the rear gardens. Thanks to his previous work on royal security years earlier, he knew the grounds and internal layout extremely well. Using a small electronic device, he managed to temporarily interfere with part of the camera system without setting off any alerts. Though his pulse raced, confidence kept him calm. Another job. Nothing more, he reassured himself as he climbed over the fence with practiced ease. Moving silently through dim corridors, avoiding areas where guards patrolled, he made his way toward William's private office, convinced that the documents were stored there based on information provided by Marcus. Everything seemed to be unfolding exactly as planned, until an unexpected twist changed everything. At that very moment, Prince George, only 12 years old, suddenly woke from an unsettling dream. Thirsty and slightly shaken, he left his bedroom holding an empty glass, hoping to get some water and calm his nerves. The palace hallway was nearly dark, lit only by faint night lights. As George stepped forward, still half asleep, he noticed a tall, shadowy figure moving silently ahead, Victor, dressed head to toe in black. "Who's there? Dad!" George cried out in fear, his small voice trembling as panic flooded him. Startled by the child's sudden appearance, Victor froze, for a split second completely thrown off balance. The carefully crafted plan collapsed in an instant. Victor had never anticipated encountering anyone awake, least of all one of the royal children. Desperate to escape before security arrived, he pushed past George in a moment of panic. The frightened boy stumbled backward, losing his balance. His head struck the sharp wooden corner of an antique hallway table, and blood began to flow immediately from a cut on his forehead. "Mom, help! There's a bad man!" George screamed, his cries echoing through the silent corridors. The noise activated the palace alarm system at once. Guards came rushing from every direction as bright emergency lights flooded the area. Shouts filled the hallway. "Stop right there! Don't move!" Victor tried to run but was quickly overpowered and restrained within moments. Handcuffed on the floor, he was found carrying professional break-in equipment. Lock-picking tools, tracking devices, and even a small vial of sedative. "Who sent you?" one officer demanded. Victor refused to answer, understanding that any admission would ruin everything. Awakened by the commotion, William burst into the hallway in a panic, still dressed in night clothes. The sight of his son bleeding on the floor filled him with terror and fury. "Who did this?" he shouted, dropping to his knees beside George. Gently lifting the boy into his arms, William tried to steady his own shaking voice. "You're safe now, George. I'm here. Nothing will happen to you." The child clung to him, sobbing, whispering, "I was so scared, Dad. He came out of nowhere." A palace doctor arrived within minutes, examining the injury. Thankfully, the wound turned out to be superficial, a cut requiring a few stitches but no serious damage. Still, the emotional shock left George shaken and exhausted. Kate rushed into the scene moments later, her face pale with fear. Seeing her son injured, she broke down in tears. "My baby, my poor George," she cried, holding him tightly. Over the past days, she had already endured the humiliation of the fake affair scandal, but nothing compared to the terror of nearly losing her child. Anger quickly replaced her shock. "How could anyone do this to our family?" she whispered to William, trembling with rage. As soon as George was stabilized, William rose to his feet, his expression hardened with cold determination. "This goes far beyond rumors and palace games," he said bitterly. "Camilla has crossed every possible line. She's put my son in danger to protect herself." He immediately ordered that Victor be taken for formal interrogation under strict security. Later, holding Kate and George close, William made a quiet but resolute vow. "She will answer for this." The failed break-in only strengthened his resolve to expose the truth and push forward with legal action. News of the incident soon reached sympathetic journalists, and public outrage exploded. Headlines began to question Camilla's involvement, while social media filled with furious reactions. The hashtag #ProtectTheWhales spread rapidly, and for the first time, the Queen Consort was openly portrayed not as a figure of authority, but as the villain of a dark and dangerous story. In the days following the disastrous break-in at Kensington Palace, an atmosphere of unease settled over the royal household, like an oppressive shadow. William's security and legal advisors, made up of senior investigators and highly experienced attorneys, moved quickly to question Victor at a heavily guarded police facility in London. The interrogation took place in a stark, windowless room furnished only with a simple table and metal chairs. Victor sat handcuffed under harsh, fluorescent lights, determined to maintain his composure. Drawing on years of intelligence training, he initially refused to cooperate, repeating the same rehearsed line over and over. "I acted alone. I have nothing else to say." Yet despite his controlled exterior, small signs of strain betrayed him. His eyes darted nervously, and beads of sweat formed on his forehead as questioning continued. "Who instructed you? What were you sent to recover?" the officers pressed. Victor merely shrugged and replied with forced calm, "I'm an independent operator." But his confidence began to fade as William's technical team started analyzing the digital trail he had left behind. In a nearby operations room, cybersecurity specialists carefully examined every piece of equipment seized from Victor: an encrypted phone, tracking devices, and modified hacking tools. Deleted call logs were restored, GPS data reconstructed, and communication records traced. One recovered message read, "Retrieve the NDA and video before morning," and investigators soon connected the number to a device registered to Marcus, Camilla's most trusted aide. "This links everything together," reported Jenkins, a senior digital analyst, during a secure briefing with William. "We've uncovered financial transfers routed through offshore accounts tied to Marcus, and location records confirming meetings between him and Victor shortly before the incident." Hearing the update, William felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Anger burned inside him as he glanced at George, still healing from his injury. But at the same time, a sense of relief grew. Justice for his mother finally seemed within reach. Armed with undeniable evidence, William ordered Marcus to be brought in for questioning at Kensington Palace. The meeting took place in a quiet, tightly monitored room with curtains drawn and security stationed outside. Marcus entered looking exhausted and anxious, his face pale and drawn. Sitting across from him at a large wooden table, William spoke in a measured but firm tone. "We have proof tying you to the smear campaign and to the man who broke into my home. If you refuse to cooperate, you will face serious legal consequences. Defamation, conspiracy, invasion of privacy. Think carefully about your future and your family." Marcus tried weakly to defend himself. "I only carried out instructions, sir. I didn't plan anything," he muttered. William leaned forward, his voice softening. "You have served her loyally for years, but now you must choose the right path. Help us, and we will ensure your protection. Continue lying, and you will stand alone." Gradually, under the weight of evidence and hours of questioning, Marcus's resistance crumbled. His hands trembled as he accepted a glass of water. Finally, he spoke, his voice breaking. "It was all directed by Camilla," he confessed. "She ordered the affair story to be revived with manufactured proof, fake travel records, altered images, fabricated messages. She wanted to destabilize Kate so William would retreat. And she authorized Victor to retrieve the documents from Kensington Palace, the NDA, Diana's letters, and the video, because she feared they would destroy her position." The room fell silent as Marcus continued. "She said sometimes small sacrifices are necessary to protect everything." The admission struck William like a thunderclap. The truth he had long suspected was now laid bare. Relief at finally uncovering justice mingled with sadness as he considered the pain this revelation would bring to his father, King Charles. Yet his determination remained firm. This fight was no longer avoidable. With Marcus's confession formally recorded and witnessed by legal counsel, William immediately instructed his attorneys to prepare formal action against Camilla. Detailed charges were drafted: unlawful possession of Diana's private correspondence and personal property, defamation through the orchestrated smear campaign against William and Kate, coercion through the oppressive 1997 agreement imposed on Diana, and involvement in the attempted theft of evidence. Eleanor, William's lead lawyer, summarized the situation during a strategy meeting. "We have a strong case, documents, recordings, and a credible witness. Legally, we are in a solid position, but the public reaction will be immense." William nodded, his voice steady despite the turmoil within him. "This is not about revenge, it is about truth. For my mother, my wife, and my children. Camilla has gone too far, and she must answer for it." As whispers of the impending lawsuit began to circulate online, tension mounted across the country. Would Camilla be forced to surrender in the face of overwhelming proof? Or would she attempt one final, desperate maneuver to protect herself? The coming storm now felt inevitable. By the end of the month, the legal battle had officially begun, exploding into the most sensational court case in modern British history. Its impact reached far beyond the royal family, capturing worldwide attention. The High Court in London became the center of a media storm. Journalists filled every seat, legal analysts crowded the corridors, and even discreet members of aristocratic circles observed quietly from the gallery. News outlets broadcast live coverage around the clock, while commentators debated every revelation and testimony in real time. Camilla entered the courtroom dressed in formal black, her posture rigid and composed, determined to project the image of an unshaken queen. Yet beneath the carefully controlled exterior, tension was visible in her eyes as the evidence against her was laid bare. Her lawyers attempted to argue that the materials were private historical matters, irrelevant to the present. But the weight of proof proved impossible to ignore. The USB recording was played before the court with sensitive sections obscured. The 1997 agreement was read aloud in full, and Diana's deeply personal letters were quoted one by one. When the prosecutor reached the letter addressed directly to William, "My beloved son William, Camilla will never stop," a heavy silence fell over the room. Several spectators wiped away tears, and even some members of the judiciary appeared visibly moved. Outside the courthouse, public reaction erupted instantly. Social media overflowed with messages under the banner hashtag Justice for Diana, shared by millions across the globe. Sitting among the plaintiffs, William listened intently, his thoughts filled with a mixture of grief and determination. "So this is how much she endured," he reflected. "This time, I will not allow her suffering to be ignored." Pride in defending his mother warred with sadness for the pain the case was inflicting on his father and the institution he was destined to inherit. Just as Camilla's situation seemed beyond rescue, King Charles made a dramatic intervention. He sent a personal appeal to the court and reached out to William directly in a private conversation. His voice sounded fragile, weakened by recent health struggles. "My son, for the sake of the crown and for your father's well-being, please stop this," he pleaded. "We are still a family. Do not let the world see us torn apart." Charles warned that continuing the lawsuit could provoke a constitutional crisis and irreparably damage the monarchy's stability. Though still angry and deeply hurt, William felt his resolve soften at his father's words. Memories of rare but meaningful moments between them returned, and he reluctantly agreed to halt the proceedings. But only on one firm condition: Camilla must deliver a public apology, acknowledging her actions openly and without evasion. The following evening, Camilla appeared in a nationally televised address from Buckingham Palace. Speaking in a controlled but distant tone, she declared, "I apologize for the pain my past actions caused to Princess Diana and to her family. I accept responsibility for retaining private documents and for decisions that were inappropriate." The statement, however, failed to convince most viewers. Critics described it as forced and lacking sincerity, and public confidence in her collapsed entirely. Although she technically remained queen consort, her reputation was permanently damaged, and she quietly withdrew from many official duties as public trust reached historic lows. In contrast, William emerged from the ordeal stronger than ever, celebrated as a defender of truth and of his mother's memory. Returning home to Kate and the children, he found comfort and renewed closeness within his family. "You stood up for what was right," Kate told him softly. "I'm proud of you." George recovered fully from his injury, carrying with him a new sense of courage inspired by his father's example. Clarence House, once a symbol of hidden secrets, became a reminder that even the most carefully buried truths can eventually be revealed. Books and articles would later recount the episode as a turning point in royal history, a lesson about power, accountability, and justice. And through William's determination, Diana's voice was finally heard, bringing long-awaited closure to a painful chapter. Do you feel inspired by Prince William's unwavering commitment to defending his mother's legacy? Does this story leave you wondering what other secrets might still lie hidden within the walls of the British monarchy? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You might enjoy it.